Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of Southeast Kingsland. Today's episode is full of heaps and heaps of content, so I got heaps to share with you. So what you can see right now is I'm building on this little beach at the bottom of the headland. This is based off the real life location in Byron Bay called Watego Beach. It's a very affluent area. There is a few famous people who live here, most notably the Hemsworths. They live in this area, and yeah, it's just a rich and famous area of Byron Bay. While the rest of it is it's very sort of medium class to high class people, but a lot of free spirited people live in Byron Bay. It's a very spiritual town. It looks amazing. I'm going to be recreating this in my series. This is the cliff face for the headland. Now, I just grabbed heaps and heaps of Ronix's ploppable, paintable rocks. So these rocks are all paintable, and as you can see, they can be floating as well. So what I did is, obviously, they were floating, and then I just pushed them down into the earth. Which was really, really good sort of look for the city, for the headland, of the city. And just getting more rocks, and I wanted to get more colours and stuff. I experimented with these colours. I don't think that I use these in the final build. And I'm trying out procedural objects for the first time in any of my cities games. So a bit of a learning curve there, but I get there in the end. I don't end up using those ones, but I use procedural objects, especially later on in the episode for the Lighthouse. So the Lighthouse needs to be bigger, so I end up using procedural objects for that. Now, something that with the headland that I noticed when I was looking at images is like how many colours the rocks on the edge of the headland have. So down lower near the water, they end up being darker. And then the higher up they are, the lighter they go. But there's so many oranges, there's so many blacks, and it was hard to completely replicate. Like, I couldn't get it exactly the same. But at the end of the day, I feel like it looks really, really good. So I'm super stoked with that and how it turns out. And yeah, I changed the theme. I've been changing the theme and experimenting with the grass and the sand and the cliff texture. So you'll see that changing. I feel like that what I'm at now is absolutely perfect, so I'm not going to be changing the theme again. That will be happening midway through it. So yeah, and this is going to be the centerpiece for Tyrone Bay. So this is going to be the Tyrone Bay headland, and then to the right there, you can see it right on screen now as it stopped for a second. The town will be over there. So this little suburb is on the headland, a little bit of a break, and then Tyrone Bay, which is completely based off Byron Bay. Here's where I changed the colours. As you can see, with Ronix's ploppable rocks, you can highlight them and then change the colours. So making them darker down near the bottom, lighter near the top. I'm trying to follow this ridge as best as I can. And I end up using a ton of rocks, as you can see. There is so many there. I'd say well over 100. And yeah, just kept working through to get a good colour going between there. So, and I feel that looks absolutely stunning. The other thing as well is getting more trees. I have got so many trees on this map, and I don't know if I'm going to hit the limit, so I'll have to check that. But yeah, lots of gum trees, lots of oak trees and bushy trees as well to fill that up. And even though it's not native in Australia, they have a fair few pine trees as well. So the pine trees you'll notice up along the beaches. I'm not 100% sure if the pine trees are native, but yeah, they're around here, so I'm replicating it. And yeah, so each of the other headlands, just putting rocks on there. The rocks look amazing on each headland to signify where the beach starts, ends, and begins. Here's some of those trees as well, just getting the bushy ones. Yeah, bushy headlanders there. So I just made a paintbrush where I could just make it very full. And yeah, so after finishing the headland, started working on Watego Beach. So this is that little suburb in the beach. And the first thing that we're working on here is the car park. There's a little car park in real life down in the corner. So the car park just has a few car spots, and it doesn't have enough for the amount of people wanting to go there. So it's always chock-a-block full of people trying to come in. But yeah, so there's only a few here, and then there's showers and toilets just at the back of it, and it's covered by a lot of trees. So pretty much undercover parking with the trees there. I use a lot of the houses that are on slopes that are found on the workshop. I'm pretty sure the SoCal houses, as you can see, they end up being raised as they come out from the road, and then they end up being 2 stories. So 1 story from the road, and then 2 stories, or even 3 stories as they go down onto the cliff. There is also slopes, uphill slopes. So they end up going into the ground, up the hill, and being raised up. So yeah, multiple stories, but a smaller entrance along the road. And yeah, I think these look absolutely amazing as well. Like, they're so good, especially on these hills, to get a bit of a transition from your hilly areas into the suburbs. You know, if you want the houses to go there. Oh yeah, I realized when I was working on this, because I actually I stream when I'm working on this on Twitch. So if you want to watch me do this live, yeah, go follow me on Twitch, and then you'll see when I'm live next, or even on the Discord. I like to post when I am going live. But yeah, I realized that the road, I only had it going one way, because I noticed on stream with one of the users, one of the persons in chat, they said, wait, where are the cars? You've got the simulation running, but there's no cars. And then, yeah, then I realized that there was just a one-way highway going in or out, and no cars could get in. So ended up fixing that. And as you can see just then, I placed a really big mansion. And that can be someone famous who lives there. We can make up a name for them. Haven't thought of anything yet, but in real life, it probably would be Chris Hemsworth's house. So maybe something to do with Thor. I don't know. But yeah, that is a part of a new mansion pack. I forget who uploaded that onto the workshop. But yeah, it looks amazing, and I detail that. So pretty soon I'll be going up into the detailing of this area. As you can see, yeah, the cars are starting to fill in that car park, which is awesome. It's really good, and it's good to see, like, yeah, people driving around and everything. So in the future, I want to create, like, yeah, big city that's all connected, so there will be a lot more traffic. There will be a lot more people moving around. These pools look amazing. The one thing that's bad about these pools, though, is when you zoom out, that they get a bit of it ends up going blue for the view of it. So like the entire thing goes blue, and you can't see as much of a detail. But they still look really good close up. So when that closer detail is on the cinematics, you'll be able to see it. And yeah. Now I'm working on the fencing around most of the houses. You'll notice in Australia that most houses have fences, but not all of them. Not all of them have fences. You can usually tell that someone decided that they wanted to build a fence, and then the other one disagreed, and then the person's paid for the fence surrounding their entire house. Obviously, this really rich mansion here, they've got their own hedges that they've made. But then you'll notice some other houses having different types of fences around it, and some not even having fences. Yeah, so working on the props around the pool, which look really good. I made a little driveway there that goes underneath that walkway, and a bit of a roundabout so cars can go around. Tennis court here, didn't have a net, so I was looking for a network that I could use to make a net that looks similar to that net. So I looked at that, had a look on the workshop, couldn't find anything, and then yeah, deleted it, and then went back, and then ended up finding just a white. I just typed in white, and then I found the white railing there, which I think looks good enough for the net for the tennis court. And then yeah, this person here also has a basketball hoop on their tennis court, so just one on one side. I decided facing towards the pool, so if the pool does go over, then it's just over near their pool, not over the fence into the neighbour's yard. Just copying some pools here. This one's really good. The pool backs onto the edge of the house. So imagine if you're living in that bottom flat, you could walk out onto the pool straight away. Yeah, with this area being really rich as well, yeah, lots of pools. So every third house has a pool, I think. When I was looking from Google Earth, I think every second or even every house had a pool. So I couldn't fit that in, unfortunately, because it's a bit more cramped than real life. But yeah, I think it's looking good. And using, yeah, lots of palm trees, yeah, gum trees and everything. So still working on those fences going through there. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm too happy with the way this fence worked out, just because of the way that the angles look. So maybe that's something that I can fix in the future. I'm looking to continually go back to areas and fix it up a little bit. But yeah, for now, it's looking really good. So, and yeah, obviously fences near cliffs. That's what I was thinking as well. Because yeah, you don't want, imagine having families there and then kids walking off a cliff. You don't want that to happen. Yeah, so some of the fences I was using was the hedges. They're the iron fences there. They look really, really good. They look like that they've been around since the 80s, those sort of fences. So, and then the other one was the Colorbond fences. They look really good and really Australian as well. I used it for the first house, the green one, right next to the car park over there. Here's me placing down some shore pines next to the beach. And then some gum trees as well. So yeah, super stoked with this. And I realized as well that I didn't have any props for lifeguards. It's like a very common thing in Australia is that you look at an Australian beach and there is always lifeguards and lifeguard towers. So since this beach is a bit smaller, it doesn't have a lifeguard tower, it just has a lifeguard tent. So I end up finding on the workshop some nice tents and lifeguard props as well, and just use them. Yeah, that looks really good, but no lifeguard tower, and I feel like that I'm going to make a lifeguard tower using procedural objects. I think that will be the best way to go about it. Yeah, so you'll see at the end after I'll download those things and use the lifeguard tent, but in the future I'll use procedural objects to make the iconic lifeguard tower. Now, as you can see, I'm onto the lighthouse. Had to scale it up using procedural objects, which looks really good. But when you zoom out too far on procedural objects, it disappears. But I don't think that it's going to matter because by the time I zoom out that far, it's not that clear and detailed anyways. And I downloaded a rotating like big beacon that I could place inside the lighthouse, which makes it look really, really good during the night. So during the cinematics, you'll see some night shots where the lighthouse is shining out that light towards all the ships to let them know that this is the most eastern point of Australia, and that's why it has the biggest lighthouse in Australia, because ships need to know so they don't crash into all these rocks here. And yeah, put the Australian flag there. So, you've got to have that Australian flag there near the iconic places. They'll be near the schools. They'll be near any government places. You'll have the Australian flag. So you'll see that. And I just put some walkways around it because I'm making this a national park. There it is there. And then I wanted a sort of walkway where people could look out, take photos. And then they can also do the walk down to the beach. So people have the option to drive up here, and then people also have the option to walk up here. And the walk goes down the hill, down towards the rocks, and then over to Watego Beach. Here it is. Here, winding down the hill, and then I connect that up through there and smooth it all out. And then there's another option to go down to this little beach, which is much more secluded. No houses around it, only a footpath. So some amazing places for people to visit in the city, which looks really, really good. So soon you'll be seeing I'm going to be adding in those props. I think the water looks really, really good now. Like I think I've changed that up while this time lapse has been going, and I'm loving the way that the theme looks. And just adding in more of those props to make the beach look good, putting in the towels, and getting that all absolutely perfect so that it looks so good. Something that I'm going to be adding into the time lapses as well is just like music. Like I always want good music on my YouTube videos, but I thought instead of just getting random royalty-free music, I actually have my cousin and my friend as well, like two different people. They make music, and I'm like, why don't I just message them and then ask them, can I use their music? And right now my cousin got back to me. He's absolutely fine with it, so I'm going to feature one of his songs in the background during the cinematic, which I think will suit what I'm showing to a T. Something that happens in Australia as well is on the beach you have the red and yellow flags, and the red and yellow flags signify where you need to swim in between. Now they don't have just the red, yellow striped flag on the workshop, and I don't know how to make much on City Skylines in regards to assets, so I ended up just downloading the Spanish flag. I think it works for now, so that's fine. I can just use that. And yeah, like I think that'll look really, really good. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll leave you with the cinematics, and then I'll see you all next time. Thanks. Bye.